Well, this is officially, I would say, where Holmer Lake begins. And these are the Madebrook pools. Now this is a collection of pools that were formed naturally over time as the Madebrook passed through the area. And technically speaking though, the inlet to Holmer Lake is hidden right under my feet here. Underneath here now is a 2-metre storm drain which is running directly from Randley Pool. A lot of the little drains around here off the road connect into it, but right under my feet it's hard to think that a huge pipe is running underneath this grassed area here, and you've got that lovely tranquil pool over there. So these pools run in sequence all the way along in a sort of order, which is sort of slowly dropping down towards Holmer Lake. Now a lot of these have been extended and man-made, and during the 80s there were actually big plans for these, and it was designed mainly for the local school to practice canoeing on and things like that. But I actually do have one picture which is going to be on the screen now of some children actually canoeing from the local Sturtshire Upper School, so that's very interesting. But one thing with this pool in particular is a huge problem is keeping these reeds back, etc., because they just really want to take over the pools completely. So this is pool number 1. Actually, in fact, the only pool that feeds into this, the only area that feeds into this is Swansmead, the housing estate. But you can see over the back there, you can see that natural hedge line there. So just behind there are the Sturtshire recreation fields, and there is a massive, basically a big grassed area which was used for football, etc., etc. I don't think they're used as much these days, but one thing I do know is that a lot of the soil from building the estate here, which is Sturchley, a lot of that was actually dumped over there, the excess soil, and that's where they created the playing fields. You can see though along here you've got a lot of mature trees here, some really nice willows, etc. It is a real sort of hidden gem really, and I suppose people rushing past on Grange Avenue wouldn't necessarily see it, would they? It's quite hidden away, but really a beautiful little spot. So you can see here now that the upper pool drops down through a small sluice into the lower pool, but it doesn't look like the ground level's actually low enough to take in. There's just a little trickle running through there, but this area of this little part of the original Madebrook stream is completely and utterly overgrown, as you can see. So we're going to take this back way. The path, there's some sort of a grass path on this side. We'll go around here, we'll be able to see the ditch a little bit more of the original Madebrook. And the Madebrook itself originated in the Telford Town Park at Fletcher's Pool, but it ends up going out near sort of Maddock, and a lot of areas have got their name from the Madebrook, such as Madeley or Brookside. They've got their names from it, although it's pronounced very differently. You can either pronounce it's either pronounced Madebrook or Madebrook. So this is the second pool here. You can see that's quite hidden away from that. It's that tree line at the top there. But actually, it's again, the area is teeming with wildlife. Again, you can see, as I said, you've got the reeds trying to take over, but brimming with ducks and God knows what else. Look, beautiful day today. So let's just continue walking along. And these are actually, really, they are hidden gems really within Telford. Pools that people don't really know existed. Now you can see here on this side, you can see this old hedge line here, which would have, the Madebrook would have run along. But just be careful on this path, it is very muddy at times because the water level's really up to this. So the path now naturally takes us up into this sort of cutting. As you can see, and then we've got this natural hedge line here, look. So we're walking on potentially what would have been the side of the Madebrook. So here you can see the recreation fields. You can imagine the thousands of tons of soil that's been scraped off to create this area. So the Madebrook returns again. It's just dropping down another few feet again. As you can see, it's just running under the bridge there. But again, vastly overgrown. So over there now we've got the school, the Telford Park School, better known as Lord Silkin, or for the oldies, Sturchley Upper. It's been completely transformed by the local councils to try and provide better education, education quality, etc. So as I'm looking over now, you can see this sort of meadow here. Now you can probably see during stormy seasons where we have a lot of rain, this particular area ends up being almost full of water. Now this is where the first ornamental pool was built by the TDC, and there is the picture of the child in the canoe on that area, because obviously it holds water because it's been formed into a new pool, but I just didn't think the supply to it was that good. So over the back there you can see the Madebrook, and you just see it in the tree line over there. That's just following along now, and we get to the newer section. So now we're coming up to a bit of a junction. You can see the Madebrook coming in from the right hand side. You can see it's quite stagnant. You can see that Madebrook, and the channel has been diverted to come under this bridge and then follow this track down here. Now you can see this was actually done a good few years ago, and it was designed to open up existing watercourses due to the Holmer Lake, it being a lot of the water source is actually been taken into the big tubes underneath. So this is, you can probably just see it's just running through here nice and steady, and then it disappears down into the drain anyway. So a bit pointless really, but it's opened it a tiny section on, and Severn Trent want to try and do this wherever they can. But the thing is, a lot of these underground pipes are 2 meters across, so they wouldn't be able to open up them channels. But that isn't the route of the Madebrook anyway, as they think it is. So the route of the Madebrook, you can see clearly this tree line here. You can see it here. Well, this is where the Madebrook went. It came across here, so you can see down there, it's come across here and then into this area here. Now it's quite low here, so you can see the lower area, and you'll be able to see, especially when it's been raining, you can see this lower bed here where the Madebrook used to run through these trees. It's been preserved quite nice here, to be fair. It's been preserved quite nice here. But actually, if you're really careful, you can actually just see on the ground there the dried up bed, look, running through. Let's go in a little bit closer. You can actually just see that dried up bed there, look, see it? The water built up. So again, you can just see the lower area there. You just see the lower area there where it would have ran through. But we're just going to come out a minute because we've got the end of the other culvert here, which we'll go up and have a look at. So there you go. Now, here's the culvert here. So this is the pipe. It's dropping down now into the big culvert underneath, which is running exactly where we are running through now. So all they've done is open up a little section and just fed that back in. I don't really see the point in it myself, but you know, mine is not the reason why. So the Madebrook now, our Madebrook now is going to disappear under this Sturchley to Brookside link road. Now, we're not going to be able to get much of a look, so we're going to go under the link road and then we'll have a look on the other side. So this looks like any BMX track you'll find, but right in the middle of there is a manhole cover, which is where that big 2-metre drain is travelling underneath. So it cuts across under the dual carriageway and straight the way down to Dornier Drive. Now, we come into this sort of area here, which is a sort of no man's land between the Sturchley Link Road and the dual carriageway. And you can see there's these beautiful oak trees here, which they were just stood in this beautiful meadow I would have imagined before all the building happened. So there's quite a nice collection of those specimens here. So over to my left hand side, the Madebrook would have come out. Now the Madebrook would be travelling in this sort of rough area here, making its way to what was to become Holmer Lake. The Madebrook just really gave it a source to fill it up. So we're coming down. So as I say, our Madebrook is just to the left of us now. As we walk down. So the Madebrook is now coming along here now, and we're just going to meet up with it again in a second. So here we have the inlet, look. So you can see the Madebrook would have come out, the original watercourse has come out here and then go underneath the dual carriageway under those two tunnels. Now a lot of water is connected from the road here and the newest housing estate, and also the new co-op here, but you can see that's where it would have run through. So now we're going to head across and meet it on the other side. Just looking for a good way in. This is the final section where the Madebrook meets Holmer Lake. This modified section still runs upon the exact route it ran all those years ago. To the left is the Stafford Park culvert. This deals with all of the water from the Stafford Park and Eastern Primary areas. Here it's shown in a particularly high flood area. This is the second outfall into Holmer Lake. This is the Randley Pool culvert. This takes water and balances it from Randley Pool. So now we're walking over towards the Holmer Lake housing estate. Now these houses were meant to be lake view properties, but as you can see the trees have had other ideas and have grown completely too high for these residents to even get a decent view. But these houses here though, built in around about 78-79 by Tarmac Homes, and the development was actually called, it was just called Holmer Lake, but also as a later phase called Coppice Green. And you can just see how nicely it's been landscaped. But the lane running down here, just where the houses are fronted onto, is called Holmer Lane. Now one thing about Holmer Lane is that was the original lane to the farmhouse, which was actually called Holmer Farm, hence why it got its name. So if we come over here now, you can see where some residents have decided to take the law into their own hands and have actually cut some of the trees down to improve the view. Now they were cut down and just completely and utterly abandoned here, as you can see, but at least you get that kind of a view. So really, as you can see those houses, they've got that lake view they very much desire now by cutting down the trees. I mean, really, was it an afterthought by the TDC to plant so many trees around the lake? I don't know, but Holmer Lake is like a hidden gem. So you had two choices here. The road used to go straight on and then over into Halesfield, and then you could probably link up with the coal mines of Halesfield, etc. But here was the access road to the farm with these beautiful trees here. And they're just coming into colour now, but that would have been a really nice access into here. So let's have a look at some of the hidden gems of Holmer Lake. This area, there are a lot of rocks into this area. I think they probably had a lot of rock left over from building the dam itself. So this area is teeming with rocks. You can see as well, nice to see that somebody's had some building work done and they've decided just to dump everything onto the bank here. Nice light up in there. But actually, we're going to go down here. Let's go down. Now, I remember as a kid, you were able to pretty much walk right across these rocks. And it was just a huge area of these huge rocks, look, all around here. So you can see here, look, you can see where the water's encouraged to come into this little area here, and then you've got all those rocks as well. But wow, yeah, we used to actually be able to walk around this at one point. But there's this smell of pollution here at the moment. There you go, so we're on the other side of the lake, a bit of But you can see, the two culverts over there that are letting in the water. So this would have originally been a viewpoint around the lake. Bit overgrown now, as you can see, but it sticks out kind of into the lake a little bit, look. Almost like a bit of a causeway. As you can see, we're just coming up to the car park now. There's one of two car parks, and this is the site where the original Homler farm was and all the buildings. It was used much later on, the yard was, this area was actually used for constructing the dam, etc., and some of the tunnelling projects that were going on, and then it was later demolished. But this car park is only testament to how successful they were thinking Holmer Lake was going to be, and it was going to be one of the prime leisure sites in Telford, but it just didn't work out that way, which is really, really unfortunate. There's lots of little tracks running off. What we're trying to find is the jetty at the bottom. So you can see there's lots of little areas, just little grassed areas coming in and out. And this is one of them. So we'll just gently sort of head our way down here. So another little hidden spot on Holmer Lake, look. They say this is the base for the mill, but it's a bit too modern for my liking. But you can see the amount of willow that's growing around the edge of the lake. What a beautiful view from here. So we're still in the area where the rock, this is all rock on this side. I must have had a hell of a lot of rock to fill this area in. So as you can see, there's lots of little tracks and trails that you can take the kids on for a little bit of fun. So nice place to come and spend a bit of time. So we're walking out now towards the jetty area. So we're now down by the Holmer Lake jetty area. Now, you probably think to yourself, well, why would there be a jetty here? Well, a long time ago, there used to be boats on the lake, and I mean, let's remember that was what it was originally designed for, was as a boating lake, an ornamental lake. But it's been years and years and years since that's ever happened here, and it's just, I suppose, a glorified Severn Trent reservoir, really. But one thing that's happened over the last sort of 12 months to 12 months is that we've had a lot more wildlife return to the lake, as you can see. Well, lots going on here, and that's because it's been managed in such a way that that they've cut down on a lot of the littering, the antisocial behaviour, etc. You know, which is really positive. So this is the widest part of the lake, and you can see the dam over there in the distance, which we'll have another look at. But the extent of Holmer Lake runs right the way, right over to those houses there. You can see a lot of wildlife here. So across there is the dam, and the word dam, it's a very interesting terminology, because the dam is actually the stone embankment that it's built on, and obviously you can see across you've got the bowl. A lot of people call that the basin. There are all sorts of different names for it, but we're going to go and take a closer look at this the dam wall as well. But here's Holmer Lake at this time in the morning, absolutely beautiful. Look at it. So this is the dam wall. Now back in the day, it was actually one of a cutting edge structure to actually have a main trunk road running across the top of a dam. But yeah, so this is Holmer Lake Dam, thousands of tons of limestone, but it gives you a really good view of the lake. So here is the main structure, what we call the sluice.
The dam is 1,000 foot long and it has a width of 100 foot. The lake is over 18 acres and can hold 80 million gallons of water.
So there you go, guys. There you go. So this is the sluice. So this basically is shaped in such a way, like a cup or a plant pot. It holds its shape naturally, and this holds back so much water. And there's not a lot coming into it at the moment. Normally the fish traps there, that's that slopey piece. You know, this is like a complete and utter whirlpool at times when, you know, we've got a high flood level, but it keeps its own. I've only ever seen it tip the top of the dam once.
This video shows the dam dealing with water under storm conditions.
So let's go and take a look at where it comes out. This is where the water is discharged. This is what they call a spillway. Now this basically takes any excess water and takes it down the spillway, through the tunnel and into the Halesfield floodplain. Let's go and take a closer look and try and sort of see inside if we can. So there you can see we haven't got a great deal of water coming through it, but normally, you know, I have actually seen this particular section near enough full to the top.
The water you see will end up in the River Severn, connected by a network of pipes.
So when we hit a once in a lifetime flood, a lot of this area will be covered in water, and naturally funnel it back into the drainage system. So a lot over there are access points in to get back into the drainage. So there's the sluice. That keeps the water level constant and lets the right amount of in so the lake stays at exactly the same level. We're actually quite low on the level at the moment due to the spell of sunshine that we've been having. But that design there that just stops any debris entering the sluice. So we're up the other side of the lake now. So right in front of us is the village, what's called Rushmere, at the bottom of Lake End Drive. It's still classed as Holmer Lake, but it was a concept by Tarmac Homes, where they actually sent their architects off to come up with something different, because Tarmac Homes have been building the same type of houses year after year after year, and the one went to an authentic Yorkshire village, and then the other they went to a Spanish complex, hence why we have a Spanish villa complex down at Great A, and we have this village. And what was quite interesting about this this village is Rushmere was sold as quite a unique thing, and a lot of the residents were saying that, told that they were going to get a once in a lifetime home, one that never be repeated. But unfortunately, no sooner did they start their next site, some of the house types were actually available on there. Actually 3 of the house types were sold elsewhere, so that didn't please them. But it was really nice. It's meant to have been created around this sort of village green that you've got here. So as we come back around the other side of the lake, we get a good view now. So this is the only view where you can actually see almost the full length of the lake now. Now at the moment we've got the COVID-19 epidemic on at the moment, and there's a lot more people around the lake than the usual would be. I mean, there's been issues on the lake over the years, such as some of the swans were killed here, used it with some idiot with a catapult, and thankfully one of the swans had a bolt embedded in its beak, and it was subsequently removed, and then I was one of the lucky ones to be able to put it back on the lake, and that was a nice moment. Yeah, I'll put the video into the clip here. But this area here now, this footpath, was meant to be created by the local group that looks after it, but as they lost their project manager, the new project manager that took it on unfortunately doesn't have a great deal of building experience, so I don't think the path will ever be built to any degree in the future. But no, well, it's one of those things, isn't it? Anyway, this is a really nice walk anyway. I think the path here is quite adequate anyway, really. You know, good vantage point across the lake, look. And it really is a nice footpath. So before the lake was here, there would have been a lot of little tributaries running into here. Now I'm obviously going to be putting some maps onto this that you can see. There'll be a lot of little tributaries and watercourses running into the centre of it. And when they actually drain the lake, you can actually see the Madebrook running through the centre of it, which was quite good to see. I'll try and put some pictures in of that as well. But if I actually show you a picture of what the lake looked like after it had been constructed, it was completely barren of any kind of landscaping whatsoever, and it's actually amazing what they've done with the trees, really. I probably planted a little bit too many trees, but there you go, really nice blossom there. We're now coming up onto the path that takes you up to Brookside now. So you've got the path there that goes up to Brookside, and then we've got one that's leading off to the left, which takes you to Homler Lake School and to Lake End Drive. And then you've got one that takes you across there, and that's into Dornier Drive. Unfortunately, there isn't a path right the way around the lake at the moment. It's just a grassed area. Maybe they missed a trick with that, but we've also now got another culvert coming in, which is for the right hand side of Brookside. That comes down and then enters the lake in at that point just there. You can just see where the pipe is, just in the bank there. The house and estate at the back there, as you can see, to Dornier Drive, was actually called Holmer Park. It was started in around about 1989 by Ideal Homes, and it actually holds the record for the longest housing estate to actually be constructed in Telford. The slowest development. I think there was only sort of 56 properties on there, but larger sort of detached properties. Yeah, it took such a long time to build, but eventually the company went bust, and then another company took it over at the end and finished the development off. So what we've got, I'm just here now, what we call, I think they refer to it as the ancient woodland, but this is a little section of woodland here that I would have thought it would have had a brook or something running through it. But actually it's a nice piece of woodland where if you actually look from Brookside from above, you can see there's lots of hedge lines. You can see there the Mallard pub there, which was built as the Lakeside Tavern. But let's go and have a look at this ancient brook. I'm told that there's some very nice bluebells in this section of woodland, so we'll just walk up. Well, that was Holmer Lake. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a real sort of jewel in the crown of Telford, Holmer Lake is, and I just wish it was used more as a leisure facility with boats on the lake, etc, etc. There's plenty of room to do that. But it's owned by Severn Trent Water, so it's an unpredictable beast, isn't it? So I think it will be what it will be. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you were subscribed to the channel, and watch out for further videos that we're doing. We will be doing some filming over Holmer Lake over the next few months for a future film. So I hope you enjoy it. Take care, bye.